everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Mint on the Box. I'm your host, the Godfather of Toys, the J-Bomb. With me as always, WrestleMania Mr. T and the Randall. Today we got a new episode. Today we will be talking about the new offering of All Elite Wrestling figures from Jazzwares. Kind of a new company on the scene. But before I get to that, I wanted to talk about a video I saw today on a YouTube channel called Retro Blasting. It's a pretty big channel in the action figure community. I don't know if you guys have checked it out, but this is a really good episode that talks about the state of toy collecting today and the distribution issues with the big companies and the box stores. It addresses kind of maybe, what we thought maybe were scalpers, but after watching this video, it kind of got down to where it's the distribution from the companies that is massively unbalanced and needs to really be fixed. I encourage you to go over to Retro Blasting on YouTube, check it out. Mike does fantastic work, has great content, and covers a huge spectrum. Does a lot, mostly retro toys and Star Wars stuff, but when he talks about general collecting, the guy, it's a very entertaining channel and has some great takes. So with that, also want to send a shout out to all the moms out there. This is Mother's Day weekend. We're filming this on Mother's Day Eve. So shout out to all the moms out there that bust their butts, take care of these kids, and take care of big kids like us that are into the action figure game. Okay, so I want to get right to it with the AEW figures. Now, if you're a millennial, you are probably only familiar with the WWE because back in 2001, the last big company that challenged the WWE for supremacy during the Monday Night Wars was WCW. They were bought by World Wrestling Entertainment and absorbed into their fold. And when you went on the toy aisles, you no longer saw ECW figures, you no longer saw WCW figures, you saw exclusively WWE figures. Up until 2 years ago, AEW was launched. It was back on TNT, where WCW was prominently on for my entire childhood, from Georgia Championship Wrestling to the National Wrestling Alliance, World Championship Wrestling, then it became WCW. You can find a lot more informative videos about that whole chain of events off this channel. I'm here to strictly talk about the action figures. And so that leads us to this. Now, I was excited about this line because, competition makes everything better. So I was really excited to go out and get these figures because the first few waves of the line, I really try to get everything. But as I talked about at the beginning of this episode, I don't know if it was the distribution or scalpers. These figures were impossible to find. We had to search sites like BrickSeek to find them. We finally tracked some down. I got the first wave all in one shot in August, and I never found another figure sitting on a peg till maybe 2-3 months ago, in maybe March. I think we found one. As a Cody figure, I opened it up, and it was kind of disappointing because when I opened it up, I saw that the plastic is very inferior, and I was not impressed with the figures at all. For a $20 price point, I just felt they were really not very well-made figures. Then I looked at the Jazzwares also does the new line of UFC figures, and I found those all over, and I looked at just by the quality of the belts, it was awful. For a $20 price point, the figure sculpts, the plastic, the belts were just awful. I didn't get any of them. In Jazzwares' defense, I looked at the new series of the UFC figures. I picked up the Conor McGregor and the Amanda Nunes. They both have the belt quality has jumped up. They're on the same level as the AEW ones. So I grabbed a couple of those. So today I'm going to open these up. The first one I'm going to open up is this one right here. It's called A Little Bit of the Bubbly set. This is an exclusive from Figures Inc. I actually had ordered it. It was back ordered. But Figures Inc. is very good about, or not Figures Inc., I'm sorry, Wrestling Super, no, it is Ringside Collectibles. brain fart today. Ringside Collectibles. They're really, really good about. They're like the website du jour of wrestling figures. They get a lot of exclusives, and when they offer something, you can usually always get it. It may be back ordered. There's another set, the Blood Brothers 2-pack of Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes. I have that back ordered. So I ordered this mainly because I like Chris Jericho, and it comes with the belt. I'm a big belt fan, you know that. We've done seen videos on it. So I've been sitting on this for a long time waiting. So I have the handy dandy bat knife. So I'll go for a couple quick slices. This figure is a set that comes with a lot of little gaga gimmicks that I probably am not going to be too interested in. But like I said, I was more interested in the figure and the belt. So slide it on open. Here it comes with, as you see, the Jericho, the belt, the champagne bottles, cups, bucket, microphone. This actually, the color parts look very alright. It's just I have a real big problem with the skin tone. You can tell that the plastic isn't that great. But let me look at the main event right here. Belt, amazing sculpt. I'm not a huge fan of this belt per se, but figure-wise, for as far as the figure goes, it's an amazing representation. It'll look very well on Chris. Also comes with a table that you can slam somebody through at some point if you'd like. But that's this. Let me set that aside, and I'm gonna open up she is, I hope it's Rio, not 100% sure, but for the longest time, this was the only figure I ever found on the shelf anywhere, so I was able to get it and get a second one so I could open it up. I want to get it because, of course, it has a belt, even though it's a woman. We're all about equal opportunity here on Mint Out of the Box. I'm not familiar with opening these figures. I have no idea how difficult it is or isn't. They have all the stuff. It's not like the WWE's where you can open up the sides and pull it out. It actually has a sealed bubble on top of the cardboard around all the stuff. Gotta pull that off. You see, she comes with 3 sets of hands and the AEW women's belt. Kind of reminiscent of the belt that Fabulous Moolah and Wendy Richter traded in the WWF back in the 80s. So pop her out. The skin tone on her looks a lot better. I don't know, maybe because it's a smaller depth. It's not as thick as some of the other ones. Or maybe just the quality has gotten better because the Jericho was out very early in the line. So maybe they're using a better plastic. I'll have to open up a couple more. I'm not sure because the next one we have here is Orange Cassidy. And I'm going to open him up real quick. And this is from wave number 3. These actually are both from wave number 3. Wave number 2 I never got in the store. I actually got an entire set thanks to my BFF, the man from Ridgecrest Chris. He graciously donated me through his connection from Walmart an entire series too. So shout out to Chris for always looking out for me. And as of press time, we are tentatively scheduled to head up to Ridgecrest next weekend. So we might have another guest spot with my buddy Chris. We're working on it. Gotta see if it can happen. What a mess. Hey, if anyone out there wants to help do some housekeeping here at Mint Out of the Box, comment below, because I have producer Steph probably wouldn't be too interested in that. We'll pull out Orange Cassidy real quick. Okay, see, one of the things I was worried about was I said, wow, his head looks weird. So I thought it was maybe a plastic issue, but either he's part of the snuff film line, or he needed an exit bag to get out of California. But I think it was just some kind of little plastic gimmick to hold on his glasses so they don't fall off in the box. But the clothing has an actual cloth jacket and shirt, which looks pretty good. I gotta admit, these are a lot better than the very first ones that came out in wave number one, so maybe Jazzwares is getting on board and seeing just how profitable and collectible the stuff is. Like I said, I don't know if this came out in the middle of the bug, is because I don't want to get flagged for saying the actual word. The bug that struck us all back in March of 2020. There was a lot of stuff that came from overseas that didn't get here, so I don't know if it was delays in that. But they're starting to hit shelves now. I've been a couple places and seen Series 3 sitting out there, so maybe Wave 2 just kind of got lost to history. And so it'll probably command a pretty penny on the secondary market. But like I said, this is the offering. I wasn't going to, after how disappointed I was with the Cody figure, I wasn't going to start a whole shelf and try to open them all up. I'll probably open up a few that I really like. And the next wave has a couple guys in there that I'm known for a long time, and I might want to open those up to throw up here on display. But like I said, it's cool having competition in wrestling. I don't know how long AEW is going to last. It doesn't look like, in my opinion, as a huge wrestling fan, that they're really growing the audience. I don't know if it's a matter of not being able to. People might have moved on from wrestling, but I remember being huge into wrestling in the 80s. Kind of when I discovered girls, I got away from it. And then ECW kind of incorporated girls and wrestling and all the hardcore stuff and brought everybody back. Then there's the Monday Night Wars, where you were having on average 10 to 12 million people a week watching wrestling. I was having people that laughed at me for being a wrestling fan and being involved in wrestling coming to my house in the middle of the night to watch wrestling after work. And now we're down to where it's very anemic, not a lot of people watch. So is it a matter of those fans are there and they're not getting them, or if people just moved on? I'm hoping that they can reach the audience and bring it back, because I'm a huge fan of pro wrestling. I was involved in pro wrestling for a very long time in different capacities. Some of my very good friends are, my daughter's godfather is a pro wrestler, and he's represented on the wall behind us. See if you can find him. But other than that, I wish AEW the best of all success. Like I said, competition is good for everything, and I like seeing a different offering in the toy aisles. So that's it for the review this week. And on my way out the door this week, on May 5th, it was the birthday of my producer, Stephanie. She's not just my producer, she is pretty much my wife. As you see, I'm wearing a wedding ring. We haven't been able to stand in front of a minister yet because of the bug that's currently going on. But for all intents and purposes, she is the person I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with, and she puts up with this. And not only does she put up with this, she has kind of jumped headfirst in, and she edits the videos. We sat here today in this hot-ass studio working on different video settings and sound settings, and now part of her Mother's Day is, while I'm working tomorrow, she's going to be running to go get an adapter so we can clean up the sound for you guys. So I just want to say happy birthday to Stephanie, my producer. You're the love of my life, and I literally could not be doing the show without you. And it just goes to show that when you have somebody that really cares about you and loves you, they're willing to put up with damn near anything. So on that note, thank you all for joining me this week. Have a happy Mother's Day. Tell your mom you love her. Hopefully she didn't throw out your toys, because maybe you guys can be doing this someday and show me some of your cool stuff. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week here at Mint Out of the Box.